Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, this is the Preppers Briefing, where we go over easy, practical, and straight to the point survival knowledge to be prepared for anything. So we are going to go ahead and jump straight into this. I'm sure the title caught you and brought you into here. Bug in or bug out. And no matter what we talk about today, you are wrong. Now, that is literally one of the biggest debates that we will ever get into, is that whether you should bug in or bug out. And I'm not here to tell you one is better than the other. I will tell you my personal preference and the way that I look at both case scenarios and the way that I would measure those and the importance in both ways that I would take that. Because at the end of the day, when disaster hits, both plans could possibly save your life. Implementing both plans could possibly save your life. So let's go ahead and break it down into 5 different reasons, 5 why you bug in, 5 why you bug out, and we will go over the most important things that I think why you would bug in and bug out. And you go ahead and let me know down in the comment box below why you would bug in or why you would bug out and what the importance for you would be. Okay, so for the most part, these are not going to be in order of priority. They are all equally as important, but maybe slightly of importance. So we will start off with number 5 and count our way down. So for number 5, it is going to be familiar terrain. That is the easiest way to explain it. You know your home, you know your neighborhood, and you know all of your routes, all of your blind spots. And in the midst of chaos, the familiarity will keep you calm and keep you safer. With that being said, you have to take into consideration your stockpile of supplies, whether that be your food, water, tools, and gear. I mean, you already have everything set up. You use it on a day-to-day basis. You know where everything is. Now, when you leave, that means abandoning everything that you cannot carry. So everything that you've worked for over the years of prepping and planning, all gone, left in one location, and you can only take so much with you. So that is a lot to ride on one vehicle or 2 vehicles to take to another location. All right, so that's going to take us into shelter and comfort. A roof, insulation, and heat are all going to be survival luxuries, and it is a lot harder for the elements to hinder your survival if you're in your home. So very, very important. Now, another big one that you should always be working on is going to be your community support. You shouldn't be solo. Your neighbors and your family should be helping with defense, trade, and medical needs. Having 1 to 3, 4 people, that might be good, but having a dozen really helps out. Everybody has their own unique skill sets that you should be adding to your group the best way that you can. So, community support. The one that I will give top tier number 1 spot to, and I will put that on the top of the list, is security and control. At your house, in your home, you control the environment. They're your alarms, they're your fences, your cameras, and power. Everything works the way that you build it and the way that you design it. So at the end of the day, these are your tools that you can implement. You're not relying on someone else or someone else's defense. It is yours. Now, when all else fails, these are going to be 5 reasons that I would choose to bug out. Number 5, we are going to talk about civil unrest or looting. When your area turns violent, you become a target. Staying home with all of your supplies can draw attention, and you don't want that. So if you live in really, really densely populated neighborhoods or densely populated locations, getting to a more rural area is probably going to be your best case scenario. And that's what I would recommend in that case scenario. So if you do live in the big cities, staying in those cities might not be the best route for you. All right, so let's go into number 4. And this might go without being said, but natural disasters and or fires, you cannot fight a flood and you can't outrun a wildfire from your living room to your kitchen. So sometimes that will mean you have to leave that area for those purposes. So if it comes down to natural disasters, obviously you need to move out of that area with quick haste. That brings us into number 3. This one is going to probably be a little bit longer term, but resource depletion. If you are going with no power, spoiled food, contaminated water, or if your supplies are running out or failing, and I guess the way that I would put it is your home is becoming your coffin, you need to uproot and go. That is the time to get out of Dodge. So don't get complacent and try to stay here when it is a losing battle. That is when you need to be okay with leaving. Now that brings us to number 2, disease or contamination. And that can be anywhere from the air, the water, or the city infrastructure becomes toxic. Getting distance between you and those issues is going to be number 1 priority and for your number 1 safety. So keep that in mind. And for number 1, and the one that we don't ever want to really talk about, is a government collapse or forced evacuation. If authorities seize control or borders close, you don't want to be caught behind the lines and you did not choose where you wanted to be. So if there is a line drawn in the sand, you want to be on the correct side of that line. What side of that line is not for me to choose for you, but you have to be in the right location. All right, guys, so here's the reality check. So which one's better, bugging in or bugging out? I'm going to tell you the truth is neither one. The real strength behind prepping is going to be your adaptability. You want to try to bug in until you're no longer safe. And then at that point, you want to bug out. Because if you don't have a designated bug out location that you know for a fact you can get to, that is going to be one of your last case scenarios. So make sure it is something that you choose to do and you know that you can succeed doing it. I will always preach that you need to have both plans ready. You need to know your rally points, what routes you're going to take, and you'll be able to grab everything that you're taking with you in the first 5 minutes of having to get out of your home. Yes, your home is the most important place to be, but do not get locked into one mindset. The world, we've seen it happen, can change within 24 hours. We can be fine 1 minute and chaos the next, okay? So that is something that we always have to prepare for, and nothing's getting easier. So always be prepared. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close out the video with one last thing, and I know I'm preaching it, but it is the most important lesson that we have to take away from this is adaptability is not optional. That is your number one skill set that you need to have and that you need to hone for your survival and your family's survival. So please hone that skill, work on that skill, master that skill. Okay, guys, this has been the Prepper's Briefing. My name is Jimmy, and I hope to catch you guys in the next video.